Hi, I'm Paul Kelly, head nerd here at Enable. In the past, I've shown you how to use scheduled task profiles to save values to custom device properties. But in this feature-focused video, I'm going to show you how you can use custom organizational properties as input for your scheduled task profiles. And this is particularly useful when it comes to software deployment where there may be a license key or an encryption key required that is unique to each customer's environment. In this particular example, we're going to use to deploy ThreatLocker AMP that's available from the Automation Cookbook, which I've already uploaded into my N-Central environment. So the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to define your custom properties under Administration, Custom Properties. I have already created two custom properties that I require. I have my ThreatLocker client name, which is a string value custom property. This is applied to all my existing customers as well as my new customers and sites that are added. And currently the default text in here is not defined. I also have my ThreatLocker unique identifier. This is a password type custom organizational property. Again, this is applied to all my customers and sites. And again, this will propagate to new customers and sites. I have a default password in here, which will have to be changed for each location because there's going to be a unique identifier code, which I'm going to get from my ThreatLocker application in order to deploy the relevant agents to the relevant customers as well. So again, this is something you can create before you obviously create your scheduled task profile. Now, the next step before we create the scheduled task profile is to define the custom properties for each customer. So do so at the service organization level. We're going to come down to Administration and Customers. And under each customer here, when you click on the customer itself, you'll see custom properties. And here you see the custom organization properties. We have our client name and unique identifier. They're not currently defined, so we can go ahead and do that. So if the name in ThreatLocker is slightly different to what you have in your N-Central environment, for example, you can obviously pop that information in here. You also have the ability then to pop in your unique identifier, which you're going to get from your ThreatLocker interface. Again, we can save that as such. And this is not shown so that when you run this policy, that it won't be stored in plain text. And obviously the information is encrypted from a security perspective point of view as well. So we can go ahead and save those changes and we can repeat the tasks for other customers within the environment as well. So if we have Tray Research here, for example, again, we can choose the client name. And again, we can define our unique identifier in here as such as well. So we will do that for all our customers. If your customers have sites, it's also important that you put in the information for the relevant sites as well. The next step, obviously, is to create a scheduled task profile. To do that, we're going to come down to Configuration. We're going to click on Scheduled Tasks and Profiles. In here, we're going to click on Add to create a new profile. From the drop-down, we're going to choose Automation Policy. In here, we're going to find our ThreatLocker installer, ThreatLocker deployment. I'm going to name this accordingly. So we'll grab this in here. We'll pop this as the name of the task. We can update the asset info when it's finished. And in the ThreatLocker unique identifier, rather than defining it here as part of the policies, it's going to be different from customer to customer. We're going to choose the actual organization custom property for ThreatLocker unique identifier. And we're going to repeat the same process for our client name as well. So we'll choose ThreatLocker unique client name. In terms of schedule, we'll run it once and we'll run it as soon as possibly after the machine comes online. So that way we can ensure it's deployed and we can go ahead and save that as such. We do obviously need to give the scheduled task profile a name. So we're going to call this deploy ThreatLocker deployment, for example. And again, we'll go ahead and save that now. So we now have a scheduled task profile that once runs will pull the unique identifier and the customer name from each of those custom organization properties that we've defined. Finally, obviously, to implement the automation and deploy this, we're going to use a rule. So we're going to come to Configuration, Monitoring, and Rules. We're going to click on Add to generate a rule. We're going to give this rule a name, so we might just keep it the name and convention the same. So we'll call this ThreatLocker deployment. We want to target all our workstation, Windows, and laptop devices. So we'll add that across in here. Under Scheduled Task Profile, we'll go ahead and add or deploy ThreatLocker deployment. And then under Grant Customers and Sites, we will choose to select all our existing customers and propagate to new customers and sites as well. So as you add more customers to your environment, they can automatically have that deployed as well. But remember that it won't deploy unless you have the relevant client ID and the unique identifier defined as well. So that's how you use custom organization properties as inputs in your automation policies. I hope you found this video useful, and we'll see you on the next one.